Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to week 13. Looking at the 1970s and the 1980s, at least sort of diverging into both a little bit. I'm still in my underground bunker. Hopefully, everything is going well for you. Let's kind of break down the week for you here. We're looking at Carnes chapter 30, running on empty, 1979 to 1991. You will notice by the end of this class and most history classes that look at the 20th and 21st century, when they dive into that, they sort of just mash everything together. I'm trying my best to slow down. There's a lot of stuff that happens between the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today that we're just sort of overlooking. So really pump the brakes the best I can. It's hard to fight against the stream that is, historical content, but bear with me here. I try to get everyone a voice to be heard. So take a look at Carnes, chapter 30, like I mentioned. And then I've got a little article for you by a historian. It's called The American Ubermensch, The History of Superheroes. We're going to look at a correlation between U.S. history through the 20th century and how it correlates to some of the pop culture references and superheroes. Even if you don't read comic books, there are cultural touchstones that unless you live under a rock or you haven't seen a movie in the last 20 years, I mean, you might get some of the references. Also, there's going to be a documentary called Stonewall Uprising. A forgotten chapter of American history is looking at, I think, gay and lesbian history. And we're going to look into that as well, too, in the seminal event that happens at Stonewall. And, have you watch that and pay attention to that as well. Because you have your form question, number 13. This one's a little near and dear to my heart, especially for you, too. It's going to be about immigration. And, we spent a lot of time talking about the southern border, as far as, contemporary immigration. Or if you look at a history class, they talk about, European immigration in the 19th century. But there's quite a bit of other stories that happen, including a lot of the defectors and expatriates from Cambodia in the 70s and 80s that went to escape the Khmer Rouge, including my mother and father-in-law. So take a look at that video and then see if you can answer the question and kind of look into it a little bit. Again, I know that immigration is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. It's one of mine too, but we'll get into that later, hopefully in the discussion board. And then lastly, after you've done all that, quiz number 4. Okay, we have our 4th quiz this week. Make sure you read through everything this week first and then do the quiz. You're going to need to have the Respondus Lockdown browser. Please be prepared to have that, especially in these times where we have so much time on our computers. We got to make sure that we're on the up and up and making sure we're having a little integrity when we take those quizzes. So anyway, that's all I got for you this week. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your week. I know I will.